Finally, Murders at Karlov Manor is available on Modo, and I cannot wait to play with some of the new cards. I've got a bunch of new brews built up, ready to go, and let's just hop straight into the first deck, and I'll take you through how I built the deck, and then we'll go into some gameplay, and then at the end we'll finalize with a conclusion on hopefully how good the deck is and if there's any improvements to be made. So my favorite card from the new set so far is Breakout. If you haven't seen it, it's a red and a green for a sorcery. Look at the top 6 cards of your library, and if there's a creature that you like, you can put it into play if it costs 2 or less mana and it gains haste, or if it's more than 2 mana, it goes into your hand. So immediately to me, this shouts that it goes perfectly into Zoo. It's 2 mana, get yourself another 2-drop in your deck, and then give it a haste. So a turn 2 Kavu or a turn 2 Neshoba Brawler, it's going to be absolutely huge. You're going to come out the gates blazingly quickly, trying to kill your opponent very, very quickly. So in my attempts to build a deck featuring Breakout in Zoo, unfortunately, you do have to lose Sign of Draco. I know some lists have already been cutting Sign of Draco before Breakout, but I think that Breakout means that you can't really play a non-2-drop 2-mana creature. So unfortunately, we're cutting the Sign of Draco. I know it seems blasphemous to even think of it, but we're trying out Breakout, so you got to do what you got to do. So in my process of building up this deck, I was scouring through every card you can imagine on Scryfall, trying to find the best 2-drops to put into play to combo with Territorial Kavu and Neshoba Brawler. I think those 2 are the biggest that you can find. And yes, we're just kind of looking for more 2-drops to fill our deck up with, because obviously 8 2-drops isn't going to be enough. We're going to need a lot more. So scouring through Scryfall, I managed to find 2 creatures which can be very, very big for just 1 or 2 mana, and that is Death Shadow and Scourge of the Skyclaves. So if you're not familiar with these creatures, they essentially just get bigger and bigger and bigger the lower life total you get. And if we're already playing Domain, we're going to be fetching and shocking a lot anyway, so we're naturally already going to have a reasonably low life total. And then I just tried to fill out the gaps with some more spells that allow us to deal damage to ourselves. So you add 4 Street Wraiths to your deck, very, very common in the old Death Shadow aggro decks. Street Wraiths just allows you to get your life total lower without having to spend any mana. And then you pair that with Thoughtseize. It allows you to disrupt your opponent, remove any removal that they might have in their hand, and in the meantime, you also manage to deal yourself some damage as well, which is really, really sweet. And that's a really good base for how many 2-drops that we need in the deck, or 1-drops as well, with being Death Shadow. Stick in some staples, so we've got Ragavan to add in and some Lightning Bolts. And then I just needed a couple more 2-drops just to round out the deck, make sure that we don't miss on our Breakout. Obviously the card is very good, but if you whiff with it, then it becomes absolutely backbreaking. So yeah, we definitely don't want to whiff on it. So I wanted to find another 2-drop, and that is when I reminded myself of Dreadhorde Arcanist. So if you're not familiar with Dreadhorde Arcanist, it's a colorless and a red for a 1/3 that has trample, and when it attacks, you can essentially cast a card from your graveyard for free as long as its CMC is less than the Dreadhorde Arcanist's power. So this seemed like a perfect fit for the deck. You could do something like turn 1 Thoughtseize, turn 2 Breakout, hit Dreadhorde, swing with Dreadhorde, and then Thoughtseize your opponent again. So you're taking out the 2 best cards in your opponent's hand. That to me seemed really, really powerful. And then it dawned on me that these old Death Shadow decks used to play Mutagenic Growth, which is essentially just pay 2 life, give a creature +2/+2, which works really nicely with the Scourge and with the Death Shadow, but also works really, really well with the Dreadhorde Arcanist. So that means that we can now go turn 2, Breakout, Dreadhorde Arcanist, Mutagenic Growth it, and then you can then cast Breakout again with its triggered ability. So you can essentially play 4 mana worth of cards on turn 2, and yeah, it just seems absolutely sweet. That is the absolute goal of today, is to just be able to Breakout on turn 2 into a Dreadhorde, Mutagenic Growth it, and then Breakout again. So hopefully we can live that dream, because I think that could be a lot of fun, and it's going to be pretty hard for people to catch up from you spending 4 mana on turn 2. So yeah, that is the deck essentially. I'll pop up on screen so you guys can see the list. I hope you guys enjoyed me running you through how I came to that deck. I have plenty more decks ready to go. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see a bunch of different brews that I post up on there. But we've got loads of Zoo content. And also a tribal deck as well, which will be using Breakout as well from the new set. So yeah, a lot more modern cards to come, and let's hop into some gameplay. But if you do enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe, because the content will be flowing for a while. So yeah, let's go into round one. My God, it looks so dark on my webcam, and then there's me that like is bright white. We get to go on the play, which is awesome. What do we got? What do we got? Yeah, this hand is gas. Let's go ahead and keep. What we're going to do, turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Kavu. That seems pretty tasty. Let's go ahead for a Blood Crypt. And Ragavan. So if you do this, does your opponent assume you're on Scam? We don't have a companion. And all we've done is Blood Crypt, Ragavan. No, I guess Wooded Foothills says that it's not. Oh, please don't be Yawgmoth. I think Yawgmoth is a very, very rough matchup for this deck, just because we don't have Trample. We need Trample so bad, and we do not have it in this deck. And they have the Young Wolf. Young Wolf is so good against Ragavan. Another Dreadhorde. All right, let's go fetch a Breeding Pool or a Sacred Temple Garden. Breeding Pool is fine. Green, Kavu. And I guess we just swing with this. Are we supposed to? And then just Mutagenic Growth it? I'm not even sure if that's worth doing. Who knows? They are one step closer to not having a blocker, I guess. If our opponent can just take a little bit more damage so our Scourge can be online at like a reasonable body, that'd be nice. Takanuma. Alright, maybe not. Fetch Shock would have been handy for us. What do they got? Something like a Wall of Roots would be annoying. Delighted Halfling, sure. Well, they're going to have to keep blocking this Ragavan. And I don't know if they want to keep throwing stuff under the bus. Oh, Breakout's pretty sweet. Yeah, let's go ahead and Breakout. Street Wraith or Ragavan? Well, I guess we go for the Street Wraith. That was a very weak hit. But we drew another land. And let's go ahead and discard one of these Dreadhordes. You don't need to. Ironically, we then draw a card that we could have used with the Dreadhorde, but that's fine. So they're just going to take it here. I guess we go get the white source. We don't have a black-white. So we can't Thoughtseize the same turn. So do we want to skip Domain and Thoughtseize this turn? No, we can't get black anyway, right? Arid Mesa can't get black. Because we've already got the Blood Crypt. Temple Garden or Sacred Foundry? Probably Sacred Foundry. So we get to hit our opponent for 5, and then next turn we can play a 2-mana 6/6, which is pretty good. But I think we might just play the Dreadhorde, actually. Dreadhorde, and then we can just start Thoughtseize, rinse repeating them. Opponent is fetching. Are they going to shock here? They are. Okay, perfect. Scourge is just getting better and better by the minute. Oh, don't be a Grist. It is a Grist. God, I hate this card so much. Yep. Yep. And they got a Halfling, sure. Oh, we drew a Bolt. That's pretty good. The question is, how do we want to do this? We could just play Bolt and Dreadhorde in the same turn. Or play the Skyclave. But the Skyclave's just never getting in, is it? With a Grist in play. So we have to then kill the Grist now. Or we can play the Dreadhorde. And then we have like Thoughtseize. And then next turn we can Thoughtseize or Bolt. Our mana is very tough this game. Or this turn at least. I think we want to Dreadhorde and bolt the Grist. No, I think we do need to Thoughtseize them. If they have like a Yawgmoth, that's going to be a pain. Cord and the Soul Cauldron. Oh, God. What are we more scared of? Probably the Cord. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6. So they could Cord for 3 next turn. I don't think we care if they Cord for 3. So let's take the Soul Cauldron and we'll play the Dreadhorde. I think this is fine. And then what we can do is next turn we can like bolt this and then flash this back. Sorry, then flash it back with the Dreadhorde. They're drawing a Wall of Roots, that's fine. That does absolutely nothing here. So now they can Cord for 2. No, 3. 3 doesn't do anything. So we've got Thoughtseize and Bolt and Mutagenic Growth in the graveyard at the moment. Oh, we've drawn another Bolt. So what? We start off by bolting the Grist. Get that out of the way. And then... Or should we have just gone face? 3, 6, 9? Possibly we just go face there. Huh. I didn't consider that. So if we swing with the Dreadhorde and then trigger... I think we just want to go for Bolt. Where is it going? If we shoot this, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 means that X is 5. No, I think we start going face at this point. If they want to start cording and stuff, that's fine. And then we can go... oh, we're still in combat. They haven't even blocked yet. Obviously, they'll just block with the Wall of Roots here, I expect. Yeah, that's fine. We'll play the Skyclave. It's not going to do anything because they're just going to have unlimited blockers. Or it feels like unlimited blockers. But between Bolt in our hand and the Arcanist, they're going to have to kill this Arcanist sooner or later, or they're just going to die to these bolts. Our opponent is thinking about responding to a Scourge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 they can do. X is 3 with the cord. What are they getting for 3? I can't think of anything I'm scared of for 3. Oh, Grist. Yeah, Grist I guess could be annoying. Oh, they're going for the life gain. Okay. It looks like they're planning... wait, have they just drawn something good as well? Have they just drawn Yogg off the top? Of course, why would you not draw Yawgmoth off the top? That seems completely reasonable to just draw the best card in your deck. So lucky. I mean, we can answer it. We can bolt it and then Dreadhorde it unless they are going to kill our Dreadhorde here. I can't believe they just drew the Yawgmoth like that. Like an absolute champ. And then they draw a Soul Cauldron. Unreal. Yeah, they're going to rinse us now. I think we're just dead, right? 1, 2. I guess we're not dead. But we do just have no board. Okay, how do we ever win from here? A Flooded Strand is probably not part of the winning line. I think we're just dead. Yeah, so like we can bolt this and then swing, and then they just chomp, kill us on the swing back. That's just... There is no line where we can win there with a Flooded Strand and a Lightning Bolt, unfortunately. Alright, in the sideboard, what do we want to change? I guess Hushbringer. Creatures entering the battlefield or dying don't cause triggered abilities. I think that's it. What is bad in this matchup is Ragavan and Mutagenic Growth. Probably Growth is worse. Yeah, let's go ahead with that. I guess we could have brought in Pick Your Poison for the Agatha Soul Cauldron. Do they make many artifacts? Not that I can think of. Yeah, maybe that was worth considering a little bit more. But what would we take out? It's pretty tough. We really should have some sort of trample in our sideboard for this matchup. If you have trample, this matchup becomes significantly easier. Because at the moment, our Kavus, they can have 30 power. If you don't have trample, they just get blocked by snakes and stuff. So, yeah. Alright, we definitely need to go first. What do we got? No threat, but double Thoughtseize and a Street Wraith and removal. Yeah, I think we'll keep this. Let's just open up with a Blood Crypt. Yeah, we can get Temple Garden with the other one. Next, we're going to cycle Street Wraith in case we find a Ragavan, which we don't. Let's just Thoughtseize them. Cauldron, Young Wolf, Fatal Push, Hapatra. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put -1 counter on target creature. Whenever a -1 counter goes on creature you control, create a snake with Death Touch. Do we just take Young Wolf and then get rid of the Soul Cauldron? No, these are all a problem. Let's go for the Soul Cauldron. And then next time we'll take probably the Hapatra. But I don't think, with our current, with their current hand, I don't think we have the luxury of taking the Young Wolf. The Young Wolf is slightly annoying, but like Soul Cauldron just wins the game a lot of the time. There we go. That's the kind of thing we were looking to draw. So let's just go Shock. Play this. Obviously, it's going to get Fatal Pushed, or they could play the Hapatra instead. But regardless, I think that's the kind of thing we needed to draw. Really hoping they play a Hapatra. And then we can double spell. We can Thoughtseize, take away something, and then bolt the Hapatra. That would be incredible. They're just passing, so they're going to use Fatal Push here. We're only missing white. So I guess we Thoughtseize, make them use the Fatal Push, and then we can break out. Yeah. If we do it this way round, they don't get the option of then Fatal Pushing the breakout target. Hapatra, and they are just out of cards now, so that's really good for us. We'll get a red-white land here. That gives us domain, and we can still cast this breakout. Hopefully we'll find something good here. Ragavan or Dreadhorde. That's pretty rough. What are we going for? I guess Dreadhorde. Oh no, wait, this is sick. So we get Dreadhorde, and then we put it into play. This is huge. And now we get to Mutagenic Growth it and break out again. How did I miss that? Opponent's mind should now be officially blown. Oh, give me that breakout. Let's go. This is all I've wanted to do with this deck, is do this. And I didn't even notice we had it. And what are we going to get? I guess a Death Shadow is pretty good. Wait a minute. You can't double up Dreadhordes, can you? So you use one Dreadhorde, get the Mutagenic Growth, use the Mutagenic Growth on the other one. No, I think you can only target spells. No, yeah, you can't do that. Okay. I guess we just go for Death Shadow as a very, very good way to kill our opponent. Unfortunately, it doesn't attack because we've already had to declare attackers. Okay, this is this is looking awesome now. So our opponent has Boseiju, Forest, Pendelhaven. They've gone for the Dryad Arbor. Is that in case they draw a Grist, they can sack it? Or is it just another blocker for the Death Shadow? It's probably just another blocker for the Death Shadow. Okay, so now I guess we want to bolt the land and then swing with both and then bolt the Young Wolf. I don't think bolting the land is a bad start. No, we can't attack with both if we do that, because then they block here, this becomes 2, and then if we use Thoughtseize, we die. Oh, this happens before blocks, right? I'm just trying to think of the best way to not die, essentially. And I think Thoughtseizing them is very risky unless we keep back the Death Shadow, but that seems crazy. If we attack with both, use the Dreadhorde to bring back Bolt this, 9, 10. It's still not lethal. They can hit us for 2. But then what are we scared of? Okay, I don't think there's any way that we die here if we get Bolt. So Lightning Bolt and the target. I guess we could just go face. No, that seems like a waste. We'll just try and get this Young Wolf out of the way as easily as possible. They're just going to take it like a champ. Oh, they've got go for the throat. Oh, no. So now our opponent is kind of forced to attack, just so we don't get to Thoughtseize them, kind of. No, I guess they don't have to. Oh, this became so bad so quickly because we're so low on life and we just ran out of threats. Yeah, so our opponent whacks us for 2. We could just die. I thought this was going so well. And then I think we just drew 2 lands. I'm not really sure what happened. Okay, that's an incredible draw. Green, red, breakout. Death Shadow is 11. So then Mutagenic Growth 11, 12, 13, 14. Yep, that's exactly. So we're going to go for that and hope that it works. I guess we could have fetched as well to give us 1 extra damage. Mutagenic Growth on the Dreadhorde. And I hope that they have no way of answering this. Come on. Oh, what have they got? They've got 2 cards in hand. What could they possibly have? Beseiju won't do it. Okay, we actually got there. All right, sweet. Breakout, absolute house that round. So we got to turn 2. No, I don't think it was turn 2. We got to Dreadhorde, Mutagenic Growth into Breakout, which was incredible. And as well as that, we also got to break out into a 11/11 Death Shadow. That's all I wanted to do. I am very happy. I'm officially happy with this deck. I don't think it's great, but it's definitely fun. 2 mana, 11/11 with haste. Very, very cool. That was awesome. Game 3, we're on the draw. So I want more of those, less Ragavans. Do we need Pick Your Poison on the draw for Agatha's Soul Cauldron? Possibly. We currently just have no answer to a Soul Cauldron. But I think we don't have... I don't think we really have that luxury to be boarding in those. I'm not sure. Maybe we should be, but... we're going to try not doing it. What do we got? 2, 3 draw steps to draw a land. 1 Street Wraith and 2 draws. Yeah, I think this is fine. We've got so much removal. We've got some really big threats. And some really efficient removal. Turn 1 Halfling. You got it. Let's just go ahead and cycle now. Double Mutagenic Growth. We could get a Death Shadow very big very quickly with this hand. Let's go for Blood Crypt, Shock, and bolt this. I think it's fine to keep a 1 land hand on the draw with a... what is called a Street Wraith in hand. Like 3 draws is a lot of draws to just find a singular land. Okay, opponent's fetch shocked. Our Skyclaves are now actually reasonable. Chalice on 1. That's pretty savage, actually. We we can't really answer that. Oh, that is so good. All right, well, we're going to have to draw a land, I guess. Even the Pick Your Poison wouldn't have answered this because it is 1 mana, so it's not a huge deal. Oh no, not like this. We just need a land. We can't Thoughtseize, we can't bolt. And it's not like Thoughtseize is even part of the cost. Because otherwise you can do things like Thoughtseize just to pay the 2 life, but we don't actually have any, like, that. It doesn't resolve before you pay the 2 life. It's the same way as if you counter a Thoughtseize, you don't pay the 2 life. Because if we could deal ourselves damage, we might just consider doing it. Oh dear. The 1 land hand was promising, but no such luck. I guess we get rid of Bolt. We'll keep these, again, just because they're Phyrexian mana. So if we want to, we can try and do something with them. That gets countered, it doesn't go to the graveyard, so I don't know if there's any shenanigans that it can do there. And they play Zillaport, Cutthroat. They're going to bop us here for 2, make a snake with Death Touch. So they're going to have to put on one of their walls if they want to do this, which they definitely will be doing. Why do the snakes have Death Touch? That seems so unreasonable. I don't remember this card ever seeing play in Standard, which surprises me after seeing that it gives Death Touch. How do we ever win? We don't have trample. I don't really know what we're looking for to ever win this game at this point, because we can't make our dudes go through this many blockers. We don't have the ability to do that. I guess we could just keep ripping big dudes and eventually break through. If that's what we're going to try and do, then we go for a breeding pool here. And we play a Kavu and pass the turn. And then I guess if we just play these every single turn and our opponent has nothing, like stone cold nothing, maybe we could somehow pull together a win. But it all relies on getting through this Hapatra at the moment, which is very, very rough. Okay, maybe they just have walls. If they're mono walls over there, we might just be okay. Oh no. Yeah, there's no way we can win now. They're going to get another snake from Hapatra, which means we effectively just have to get through 2 Death Touches and answer this with no removal in our deck. They can get free Chalice. Yeah, that's just game. There is no order of cards that we can find to win the game, but that's okay because we got to break out Mutagenic Growth and then break out again from a Dreadhorde. So can't complain. That was a great game too. That was a lot of fun. But let's try and do that again. Oh, this hand is gas. We'll go ahead and keep. Turn 1 Ragavan, turn 2 Breakout, Kavu, whatever we want. Love it. And opponent goes Forest Pass. What deck just plays a Forest and passes in Modern? Tron and Yawgmoth, right? Well, kind of. Let's go ahead and Flooded Strand. Let's go get a red-white land, I think. Yeah. We'll go ahead and cast our Ragavan, and I think we're just going to pass the turn. We could cycle Street Wraith, but it doesn't do anything, right? There's no other line where we don't play the Ragavan on turn 1. Like, even if we drew a Thoughtseize, which is our only other turn 1 play, we would still Ragavan, so. Fauna Shaman, what is going on here? Alright, opponent. We know you're up to something. Just not sure what that something is. Another Mutagenic Growth. Alright. Let's go ahead and cycle Street Wraith. And we find a Thoughtseize. Unfortunately, we're not going to be Thoughtseizing this turn, I don't think. We're going to Temple Garden and Shock. And you know what? We're going to break out and hopefully find a Dreadhorde Arcanist. We do not. A Scourge or a Kavu. Well, we're obviously going to have to go for a Kavu here. We absolutely want it put into play. And yeah, let's just get swinging. Discard a card and draw a card seems good. What are we getting rid of? I guess a Mutagenic Growth. And we draw the third one, all right. Our opponent is choosing to block, so I think it's worth just keeping our Ragavan alive. And the opponent just concedes. All right, nice. Not really sure what our opponent is doing. They've got Saga, which makes me want to play Pick Your Poison because you can choose Enchantment if they've got a Saga. And if they go get whatever it is that's busted, then we can go ahead and get rid of whatever artifact they tutor for. I don't know what they're doing, but I feel like you want Pick Your Poison against whatever their shenanigans are. Yeah, I think that's about it. We don't really have enough information to go off. But if they are a creature deck, Mutagenic Growth does seem pretty weak. Oh, but it's so sweet with the Arcanist. You know what? Maybe we just scrap these. No. We are going to cut Skyclaves. The reason that we're cutting Skyclaves is, let's just go ahead and submit, because our opponent is playing basics and sagas, which means our Scourges are very, very easy to just not be anything. Oh, this hand is gas. We'll go ahead and keep this. Keep. So we can just go fetch, shock, Street Wraith, Thoughtseize, and that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage, which is insane on turn 1. And then we can, yeah, we've got a load of interaction here with the Thoughtseize, and then the Arcanist to hopefully Thoughtseize again. And we draw the Bolt. Okay. Unlimited interaction, apparently. So let's go ahead and fetch a Blood Crypt and shock. I guess we'll cycle the Street Wraith, because if we do find a Ragavan, that is better. Okay, we do not, but we find another Street Wraith, which could also be a Ragavan. Sadly not. All right. Let's have a little look. What is our opponent up to over there? Oh, God, I don't know what these cards do. Avatar of Woe. Oh, I recognize this one. If there are 10 or more creature cards in all graveyards, this costs 6 less to cast. So it's just a 2 mana 6/5 kind of. Okay. Daredevil, I think everyone knows at this point. Priest, sure, and Tyvar. Okay, sure. What are we taking here? We obviously can't take the Daredevil because it just comes back. I guess Tyvar? Let's take the Planeswalker. Not really sure what the correct pick is. The Avatar I'm not too worried about because we can use the Kavu to exile their graveyard. Oh my god, we've already put 2 creatures in the bin because of our Street Wraith. So our opponent's Avatar is off to a good start. Oh sure, now they have the fetches. Would have been nice to know that last game. Oh, okay, they're still getting basics. And they go into Priest, sure. So we can just go shock and play Death Shadow and bolt this. How scared of Priest are we? I don't really know what our opponent's deck is doing. Maybe we just go fetch, shock, get a Temple Garden. Green, red. We're just going to break out. And we find a Death Shadow, which is absolutely fine. Already a 5/5, so more than happy to do that. Turn 2, we're down to 8 life, which seems very counterintuitive, but we've got a big old dude in play. I was hoping to find like an Arcanist, and then we could just like cast another Thoughtseize, but maybe a Death Shadow is actually better here. All right, opponent just makes another food. Does their shenanigans. If you haven't seen this combo before, it is... Here we go. It's just a 4 mana 4/2, which is irrelevant. It says, whenever an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may return it from your graveyard to your hand. So you can basically just keep discarding it to Underworld Cookbook, make a food, and then it goes back, so you don't actually do anything. And there we go. And the same with the Fauna Shaman. I guess you can discard it. It doesn't make a food, but you can then make it like a food or something later and bring it back. So Priest is to other creatures. So sacrifice to other creatures, and then I have to do the same, and then I lose 2 life. Oh no, I only have to sacrifice 1 creature, but they get a bunch of effects. So that makes me kind of want to just bolt this Shaman, because I don't know what they're doing, but it can't be good for us. So let's go ahead and shock. And bolt this Fauna Shaman. I have no idea what they could possibly be doing with it, but I really don't want to find out right now. So let's just go ahead and swing with a 7/7. Opponent goes down to 7 here. And how many creatures are in the graveyard at this point? 1, 2, 3. Okay, just 3. So the biggest thing we can do is play Death Shadow. Or do we want to play a Kavu and start hating their graveyard? I don't think so. I think we just want to keep playing 7/7s for 1 mana. In fact, the Death Shadow is probably the best thing to do by far, because if they find an Asmo, then the Asmo can kill either of these, but an Asmo cannot kill a Death Shadow. At least not with 2 food, it would have to use 4. Yeah, for sure Death Shadow was the play there. Just a shame we couldn't utilize this green mana. trying to use Domain and also have a bunch of black cards in your deck and red-green cards, super tricky. So yeah, it definitely feeling the constraints of Domain here. And it looks like our opponent has just conceded. I have no idea what they were doing, but I'm very intrigued by this Avatar of Woe. Yeah, no idea, but really happy with that. All right, hopefully my webcam won't shut off during this game. Oh, we're on the play, awesome. Yeah, my last game, I noticed that for some reason it shut off. Let's go ahead and keep. This hand is awesome. Got a turn 2 Kavu, and got some interaction. Really, really happy with this hand. What are we going to go for? Red, white. So yeah, I guess Sacred Foundry into Steam Vents. No, Temple Garden. Yeah, Sacred Foundry, Shock. No, now we can't Thoughtseize. There is no land in our deck that can get a black. Okay, hopefully this is now working. All right, yeah, sorry about that. Having some very bad technical difficulties today, unfortunately. So yeah, my webcam stopped and then my OBS has crashed. Things are not looking good. So hopefully we can get this game in and it should be a good one. So what's happened is we went Flooded Strand, Sacred Foundry, and then Flooded Strand, Breeding Pool into Kavu. Unfortunately, neither of these Flooded Strands can get a black source in our deck. So our hand is kind of screwed, and I only realized that on turn 2. So I think these probably should have been Polluted Deltas in the deck, but it's fine. We'll make it work. Let's just go ahead and swing. We can loot away something. We are definitely going to have to discard something. What are we going to go for? I guess Death Shadow, or is it Thoughtseize? I think we're against Rhinos, so I'm going to get rid of this Thoughtseize. Don't really want to use Thoughtseize against our opponent if they are on Rhinos. And then we'll play the Dreadhorde Arcanist. So we're actually really well suited against Rhinos, I think, in this deck, because all of our cards pretty much... Oh god, no, it's Living End. Huh, okay. I just assumed it was Rhinos, just because I feel like that's the better of the Cascade decks at the moment. At least that's what results would dictate. But I believe Living End has a good matchup against Rhinos, which is kind of seems a bit weird, but they basically do the same thing, except Living End gets rid of your opponent's Rhinos. So yeah, this is definitely Living End. Our opponent's going Grief just to clear the way, make sure we've got no shenanigans. And they have now found out our problem, and they've gone ahead and taken the Mutagenic Growth. Seems like a good choice. All right, they don't have anything to do with their mana just yet, but there is plenty more that they could have coming. I think what we want to do is play this land and very black hand. Yeah, our opponent has just realized that our hand is all black. Fortunately, we've drawn a land that can go get a Blood Crypt. I kind of want to get these in the graveyard. So I think what we're going to do is swing with both here. And use Thoughtseize. And which side of Kavu do we want to use? I think the discard and draw. We want to discard the Scourge, because then if they use Living End, it will come back. We then want to fetch, shock a Blood Crypt in. And then we're going to use Thoughtseize. Targeting ourselves. And the reason we're doing this is, again, to put more of our own stuff in the graveyard. Yeah, they've noticed what we're trying to do. So they're going to force the negation. So the aim was to Thoughtseize ourselves and put another creature in the graveyard, and then our graveyard would actually be more powerful than theirs. But they have caught on. So well noticed by our opponent. We're going to hit them for 6. And we'll go ahead and play Death Shadow here. And then if our opponent does go to Living End, we're probably just going to bolt this. Just so then it comes back from the Living End. Yeah, so we're actually not looking too bad. We've got the Scourge in the graveyard, which is obviously very big. So it's not as bad as I think it looks. Yeah, the opponent is just, you know, if you try and Living End and you get a 4/4 and a 3/2, and we get what essentially would be, what, a 9/9 to begin with, and then we can bolt ourselves if we want to. There was a lot of things we had, but I don't know. Not really sure what our opponent was doing, but this is really good for us, I think, this matchup, because we are playing 3 Drannith Magistrate. Really, really good in this matchup. And is Sanctify good? It hits a couple of their creatures. I don't think it hits enough, though. So I'm going to go ahead and say no, but obviously Flusterstorm is great. Cards in this matchup that are bad. I don't care for Thoughtseize at all. I don't think it's good enough. And I guess same with Mutagenic Growth. But if we're cutting Thoughtseize, then Dreadhorde becomes a lot weaker. Yeah, I don't know if we can actually afford to cut Thoughtseize. Between Death Shadow, Scourge, and Dreadhorde, you kind of need them. So what is weak? All right, we'll cut 2 Death Shadows and the bolts. Let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, Sanctify doesn't actually hit as much of their deck as you might think. Normally you'd go, oh, it's a Living End deck, so you can hit all their graveyard stuff, but a lot of it is just like random shitty blue flyers and stuff. So yeah, this hand is absolutely awesome. We have got Magical Christmas Land again with Breakout and Mutagenic Growth. So if we find a Dreadhorde Arcanist, we just we get to have a great time. But more importantly, we have a Flusterstorm, which I think is probably the best card in this matchup. See what our opponent's up to on their turn 1. The play pattern for this matchup is very, very straightforward. They've brought in Leyline, so traditionally you use Leyline in these decks if your opponent is getting stuff in the graveyard, and we just happen to be able to get stuff in our graveyard very efficiently. That's kind of funny. I think we're just going to go turn 1, get a Blood Crypt, and Thoughtseize our opponent. Doesn't matter what land we use. I guess we want to use Marsh Flats. Blood Crypt, Shock, and Thoughtseize. Down to 15 already. What's our opponent got for 1 colorless mana? Just a cycler, I would imagine. Yeah. Opponent goes and cycles their Oliphant, which I think made this deck significantly stronger. I remember when these first got realized of how good they were. This deck became like the top deck for a while. What do we want to take here? I guess we take the Curator. I don't really want to take the Ent, because then all they'll have is... sorry, if I took the Ent, then they'd be on 2 lands, but they could cycle this, and it's just very easy for them to find a 3rd land. Breeding Pool. As much as I'd like to use this Breeding Pool, I think we're going to have to go for a Temple Garden, because that will then put us to 12. So if the only card we hit off this is like a Death Shadow, we still hit. Niche, but I think that's worth it. We only take 1 extra damage, so there's not even a drawback really, as we're a Death Shadow deck. Come on, show me a Dreadhorde Arcanist. That is... Oh, no, we can't use Dreadhorde with this. All right, we don't want to hit Dreadhorde. Wow, we hit 6 creatures. That's insane. Yeah, we don't get a graveyard, so Dreadhorde can't flash this back. Scourge, they haven't taken any damage, so we can only actually take Ragavan really here. We definitely want to put it into play. We get to bop our opponent here, and now we have mana up for Flusterstorm whenever we need it. And one thing I really like about this deck is when you're... Oh, that could be interesting. Unfortunately, we don't have the mana to do it, but I would have very much liked to evoke that. Blowing up this Leyline of the Void, just to get out of the way. Actually, it's probably better in... No, you know what, in hindsight, it's better in Exile, because if they do Living End, we're screwed. If they ever Living End. I don't know if they will with Flusterstorm in our hand. But yeah, one of the things I really like about Death Shadow is you shock all of your lands in. So it's much easier to bluff something like a Flusterstorm, where in any normal deck, if you just shock a land in, it's like, why have you shocked your land in? But in Death Shadow, even if you don't use the land, you're still shocking it in most of the time. So I quite like that. We hit Dreadhorde, which is essentially a dead hit here. Let's just go Breeding Pool, Shock, and red, anything, Breakout, and hopefully find something a little bit bigger this time. Maybe a Kavu. Kavu would be pretty sweet here. What are they doing? They're countering it. How greedy is it to Flusterstorm this? It's pretty greedy. The thing is, we're not doing much damage to them. No, I'm going to go ahead and Flusterstorm this. We could hit Drannith Magistrate, which would obviously be really good as well. But also, like, we don't have a clock, really. So if we don't have a clock, then being able to counter their threats doesn't really do anything. Like, two damage is not really a clock for us. I think we want to do it like this. We'll try and find like a Drannith Magistrate or just something. Anything at this point will do. Okay, sweet. A Scourge is great. We'll go ahead and put that into play. Yes. And I guess we just swing here. There's not really any reason to Mutagenic Growth just yet. Is there? Yes, there is actually. That would just mean that next turn the Scourge will be bigger. We find a Street Wraith. Unfortunately, we can't cycle that. That would have been pretty cool. And yeah, now our opponent literally has to find something to do right here, right now, because the Scourge is so big. That's why I wanted to use the Flusterstorm. Unless they've literally drawn a Cycler, a Cascader already. But I think when your opponent mulligan's quite low. Oh, they suspend a Living End, sure. Awesome, sweet. That went really, really well. Yeah, seems like a very reasonable matchup for us. We have a very, very quick clock, and our sideboard is like super hateful. So really happy with that. So there you have it, guys. Death Shadow, Breakout, Zoo, Suicide, whatever you want to call it. This deck has been so much fun, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching the gameplay. We have experienced quite a few technical difficulties. I don't know how much of that will come through to you guys, but my webcam seems to be screwing up, which then means my OBS crashes, and I've lost so much footage of this deck. It's unreal. But hopefully you guys have seen some good clips. Is there anything I would change in the deck? I think I did actually cut a land and add a lightning bolt at some point between some of the gameplay. So yeah, definitely play the extra lightning bolt over the extra fetch or shock or whatever it was. And other than that, I think the deck was really, really fun. And I have seen a Death Shadow Rakdos Death Shadow deck just recently came second in some like 300 player tournament. So maybe there is more to Death Shadow than meets the eye in the current meta. I think the matchup against Living End was absolutely incredible. I played Living End twice, and both games were very, very convincingly favored. I think also the matchup against Rhinos might be pretty good, because Death Shadow and Scourge both mean that if they hit you with their Rhinos, you just hit them back even harder. So yeah, I really liked Death Shadow. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If there's any more content you guys want to see, make sure to let me know in the comments. There are plenty more Zoo decks coming. I think the next one I'm probably going to play is the Leyline of the Guild Pact Sign of Draco combo. That seems to be very popular at the moment. I've seen people even play it in Rhinos. So Yeah, that should be interesting. I think that's probably going to be the next video. There's also, you can take advantage of Grief and Leyline of the Guild Pact, because then if you top deck it, you can pitch it to Grief. So I think that's a good way to utilize it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the content. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe. Peace.